Asante sana Waziri, ndugu wananchi, magovernors, wabunge wetu, development partners, friends. Please take our seats. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, first let me appreciate the warm welcome by the people and the leadership of this county to all of us who are attending this occasion today. Thank you very much for welcoming us. Let me also congratulate the leadership of the Pastoralist Leadership Summit for organizing this occasion, and I am honored to participate in this important event and address this esteemed gathering of leaders from Kenya's pastoralist communities. Previous editions of this forum have not only been enlightened, but have also provided valuable insights that inform the development and implementation of crucial policies, programs, and projects. I am confident that this fourth Pastoralist Leadership Forum and Summit will uphold that tradition and deliver meaningful outcomes that will inform, and I have listened very carefully to the patron who has read some of the resolutions here. Some of the resolutions that you have arrived at in this forum will inform policy of government going forward. This forum underscores the aspirations of our pastoralist communities for resilience, productivity, sustainability, and economic transformation. It also demonstrates our shared commitment to pursuing and achieving shared inclusive growth at all levels and in every part of the Republic of Kenya. The work set out for this summit is both substantial and significant, requiring pastoralist leadership to rigorously evaluate the implementation process of policies and programs, identify gaps in the strategies as we implement, and formulate a clear way forward to enhance pastoralist value chains, unlock development financial resources, generate higher incomes, and promote inclusive economic transformation. This summit must also address policy weaknesses and implementation bottlenecks while developing effective mechanisms to create more opportunities for all, especially our young people and women. I see the women leadership here speak with a lot of passion and defend their place in leadership of our country. They should have recognized, however, that the CS responsible for this event is equally a pastoralist girl from the body of this pastoralist summit. The summit must also, in an implicit message that consistently emanates from this forum, and it must be clear, by working together in unity, we can overcome historical marginalization, promote inclusion, foster equity, and deliver prosperity for not just this region, but for the rest of the country as well. I listened to the chair of the FCDC, and he said correctly that the fortunes of our pastoralist communities are intertwined with the fortunes of the rest of Kenya. There cannot be, in my very honest analysis, a progressive Kenya without a progressive pastoralist community. 85% of Kenya is arid and semi-arid. And therefore, if we have to speak positively about the progress of Kenya, it is not possible to leave behind 85% of Kenya that is arid and semi-arid. And therefore, it is imperative that as we plan the way forward, if we have to move the country together, and if we have to tap into the potential that exists in our country, the pastoralist, arid and semi-arid areas must be part and parcel, if not central, to the development of Kenya going forward. In any case, the greatest potential today exists not in the rest of Kenya, but the greatest potential exists in arid and semi-arid areas, in the pastoralist community areas. I take this opportunity to express my gratitude to our development partners who have been strong supporters of this organization, in particular to thank the Swiss ambassador and the UNDP lead for your participation, your belief in this forum, and your support, as always. Your consistent support has been invaluable and has gone a long way to facilitate the implementation of important strategic objectives. Thank you for complementing the government support in this event and in the programs that we run together. To build on the foundation of previous summits, pastoralist leadership must effectively address financial and policy challenges hindering the full realization of economic potential of pastoralist people and region. Key areas that call for strategic attention include ending drought emergencies, scaling up fodder production, formulating a camel value chain strategy, privatizing livestock vaccines, and improving the overall livestock sector. I am very clear in my mind, and I have given very firm instruction to the minister responsible for agriculture and especially livestock on the focus on livestock. We haven't given livestock the attention it deserves. And I am very clear in my mind that it can contribute much more significantly to our GDP if we had correct policy initiatives funded appropriately as is required and provided an offtake mechanism for our livestock keepers. Let me say the following, that in our strategy, livestock from dairy to beef and everything in between is part and parcel of what we imagine and believe that this should inform the way forward, especially in developing our agriculture and livestock sector. It is the reason why we have made a conscious decision to expand market for our livestock products. We must think about market for our meat products. We must think about market for our skin and hides. We must think about markets for the entirety of the livestock value chain. It is the reason why we have committed 1 billion shillings to complete, for example, the Kenania project that is going to deal with our skins and hides. It is the reason why we are investing in Narok additional resources to make sure that we build the capacity for handling our hides and skins and to begin the journey to make sure that these hides and skins translate into products, whether we talk about shoes or other leather products manufactured in Kenya. Early next year, I will be presiding over the Kenania project opening that will give us 500 acres with the most modern treatment plant that will be available in Kenya. And I am asking the pastoralist community, as we provide offtake for your skins and hides, we must work backwards with counties so that we can make sure that the recovery of hides and skins from our abattoirs, from our other facilities that are being used is both correct, and we use the right equipment, because some of the time we lose a lot of that skins and hides because of the flaying mechanism and the flaying capability. Mweke here and his team, the PS responsible, are working on building a relationship with counties so that we can train the flayers, we can make sure that we give you the correct knives for flaying so that we enhance the recovery of hides and skins so that we can use them to drive our economy, and especially on the livestock products space. Secondly, we are also working, and I want county governments, especially from these pastoralist communities, to work with us on making sure that we improve on the breed of the livestock that we have, both for milk and for beef. When I met Prime Minister Modi, we agreed that we are going to have a collaborative program that is going to enhance the quality and the types of livestock that we keep, especially those that are sensitive and those that can sustain the climatic condition that exists in our arid and semi-arid areas. And therefore, we have a whole array of interventions, and we are looking at how we can reduce the cost of artificial insemination, how we can make it much more accessible, and how we can build the capacity to produce more locally. Also, to make sure that we open up market for our livestock products, we must manage our disease prevalence. We must manage the diseases that come with ticks and all the other things that come along. And it is the reason why I have made a policy decision that because we have never been able to manage disease around Kenya, because we vaccinate in one county, the other county has not vaccinated, disease move from here to there. We are going to carry out a national campaign, a national vaccination exercise that is going to make sure that we vaccinate our 22 million heads of cattle and 50 million heads of small stock, goats and sheep. And that exercise is because it is necessary. That vaccination is necessary because we want to create a disease-free country, and so that we can market our livestock products to destinations that today we have been denied access to certain destinations because of our disease control inadequacies. That is the primary reason. And for the avoidance of doubt, the vaccines that we will be using are produced in Kenya by Kenyans. Kevevapi, our own institution is going to produce these vaccines. We have one of the largest vaccine producers in Africa, in Kenya. Today, we are selling vaccines to other countries. And I want to tell livestock keepers, starting from myself, because among the livestock that is going to be vaccinated is my own cattle. You know? So, there is an evil spirit in Kenya that is resident in some leaders. They churn out falsehood. They oppose everything for the sake of opposing. I mean, foot and mouth disease, PPR, are diseases we have been fighting ever since I was born. It is nothing new. So anybody opposing vaccination to eliminate FMD and PPR is simply mad and unreasonable and possibly stupid. I mean, honestly, how else can you explain? You know? Or maybe they don't have cattle. Maybe they don't understand what this is all about. You know? So if you are used to planting things, you don't know about livestock, please, when we are having a conversation about livestock, shut up. At least for those of us who keep cattle. So we are going to carry out this vaccination because it is the right thing to do, because we need to take charge of disease control and open up markets for our animal products. And we are going to use vaccines that are produced by Kenya right here at home, so that even as we develop vaccines that we are selling to other countries, we are doing the same to our country. Let me also say that, like its predecessors, this summit is a critical forum for advancing key agenda, and its legacy reflects very positive impacts. The first summit held in Narok in 2014 shone light on peace, security, and infrastructure deficit, which required urgent attention. In 2016, the Isiolo Summit advocated for the operationalization of the Equalization Fund and the expansion of livestock markets. The Garissa Summit in 2019, for its part, focused on socio-economic development and counter-radicalization and the promotion of community climate resilience. Your deliberations here are not in vain, because we will deal with them, and I am committed to ensuring that the consensus you strike here must inform government policy. As you know, the policy and institutional outcomes of the past summits included the implementation of the Equalization Fund, the Livestock Marketing Board, and the National Livestock Insurance Program. These initiatives have since been implemented to reflect our commitment to partner with you to enhance drought resilience and promote sustainable development. And let me request at this point that the leadership of the Pastoralist Summit work with my Minister for Livestock so that next week we can identify and appoint the leadership of the Livestock Marketing Board. I mean next week. And it must include women, so that we don't have it must include women. So, Mweke, you're representing the minister here. Next week, by Thursday, we should have that Pastoralist Marketing Board appointed, the leadership, and work with the leadership of the Pastoralists so that we can identify the right people and the people who understand the subject matter of how we want to move ahead together. Recognizing persistent disparities in ASAL regions, the government of Kenya launched a $2 billion North and Northeastern Development Initiative, commonly known as NEDI, to address historical neglect and promote inclusive growth. To enhance its effectiveness going forward, I have directed that its implementation be implemented now from my office. And therefore, Rashid and your team will now move to my office so that I can keep tabs on what is going on. The newly established Livestock and Marketing and Products Board is key to organizing pastoralists into cooperatives and ensuring equitable market access. The Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture, as I have said, will expedite the appointment of the board and to make it operational by next week. Ladies and gentlemen, the modernization of pastoralist economies is crucial. This can be achieved by promoting the adoption of modern cooperative frameworks to manage production and increase the productivity of livestock and natural resource value chain. In this connection, I have instructed the Cabinet Secretary for Cooperatives to strengthen cooperative movement in northern Kenya and work with counties to train those responsible for the management of these cooperatives. Additionally, Equalization Fund continues to mitigate marginalization, having supported many projects in the past. And I was looking at the statistics this morning. You're all aware Equalization Fund was set up subsequent to the 2010 Constitution because of the inequalities that existed in our country and the need to bridge the gap between counties and regions that were way ahead of the others. I know there have been many policy changes in between, but the numbers speak for themselves. When I was asked by the Pastoralist leadership for the full implementation of the Equalization Fund, I can now confirm that between last year and this year, we have identified 1,200 projects, and we are funding those projects to the tune of 18 billion Kenya shillings. Let me also say that for the 13 years, 12 and a half years that the Equalization Fund has been in place, for 12 years, the government of Kenya spent 12 billion. In 2 years, my administration is spending 18 billion. And I want to commit that in the next 6 years, by God's grace, we're going to make sure that no shilling that was meant for equalization is lost. We are going to make sure that every shilling is accounted for, and if there will be need for us to extend the time for this Equalization Fund, we will, to make sure that we ultimately make sure that this project is done properly. Let me also confirm that I agree that extending this program to cover 32 counties makes it inefficient. And we are spreading it too thin across too many projects and missing the impact it is supposed to create. And therefore, we will be rationalizing. We will be having a rethink of this Equalization Fund, and the ministers responsible will, in the first quarter of next year, provide us with a policy direction that will be approved by Parliament so that we can limit the extent to which this Equalization Fund is spread and make sure that we create greater efficacy. I know at the moment the projects are identified in wards, making it too small. We have too many small projects in too many places, and we end up with coordination problems, we end up with implementation problems, and we end up missing the impact that this Equalization Fund was supposed to give. Therefore, I will be expecting suggestions and working with the ministry responsible from FCDC and from the Pastoralist Forum so that we can harmonize our thoughts and see to it that Equalization Fund becomes the instrument for reducing inequalities that was intended in our Constitution. Let me also confirm that because we lost a lot of livestock, especially in this region, I made the decision that the government of Kenya was going to provide 1 billion shillings to assist in the restocking process. That program is continuing, and I will be back here in January so that the livestock we will have bought, we will come and distribute to the homes. We are targeting 10,000 households to give them livestock for the restocking exercise. So God willing, we will be back here in January to continue with that exercise. Let me also say that the Horn of Africa Gateway Development Project, which we all know, that is supposed to connect Isiolo all the way through Garissa, through Wajir to Mandera, a project of almost 740 kilometers, is a project that is so dear to all of you and so to me. And we have implemented different sections with different actors. Let me now confirm that the section from Modogashe to Samatar that was contracted under annuity, and that from Ramo to Mandera that was also contracted under annuity, we're going to change it and make it a normal road construction project so that we can get it off the challenges that annuity has gone through. And by the time I come back here, I will have a way forward. Let me also confirm that the road from Samatar to Wajir, roughly 120, maybe 150 kilometers, which was funded under other development partners other than the World Bank. Now that the coordination of this program is coming to my office, I will follow it up so that, again, we can complete that section of the road and make sure that we can drive on tarmac from Nairobi to Mandera. And that, I think, will be one commitment I want to make and I want to deliver on so that we can complete the mainstreaming of this region into the rest of the country and making sure that we move together. Let me also confirm that in line with our strong partnership with pastoral communities and our strategic commitment to unlocking the potential of arid and semi-arid areas and other pastoralist rangelands, I commit that the resolutions of this summit will be translated into collaborative action, policy frameworks, and government projects. This will involve coordination with parliamentary caucus, of course, and the county leadership. Mpunguze hii maneno kidogo hii. Naona mnasema iko protocol. Protocol ni kitu kidogo. Wachana na protocol. You know? Sometimes I go to meetings and I even I speak fast before the MCA. And I'm not bothered about who speaks when, how, at what point, you know. So don't be too much bothered about protocol. You know, let us let's work together. Sawa sawa. So I know sometimes people are affected. Maybe I needed to speak here, I needed to speak there. Pole pole, you know. Bora si tumeongea sisi wote. Haijalishi hawa watu hawatakumbuka nani aliongea before who. Watajua tu kuna watu waliongea hapo na kila mtu alisema mambo yake na sasa tuko sawa. Si ndio? So mtulize boli. Najua governors waliongea mbele ya wabunge wameongea nyuma yao namna hiyo. Hata mimi ningeanzisha hii mkutano ingekuwa mzuri, ningeongea mbele. And sometimes you people, you know, I have been around for a while. You know, if you have an opportunity to speak, speak fast when people are still listening. You know, when you speak last, watu wamechoka, story imejaiva. So tuendelee namna hiyo na tushirikiane pamoja. Mimi nataka nikubaliane na nyinyi, pia ningependa kusema mambo mawili ama matatu ya muhimu. Pia, mbali na yale yote nimeyasema hapa. Usalama wa nchi ni ya muhimu sana. Na sisi wote tuko na sehemu ya kuchangia katika mambo ya usalama. Kazi ambayo tumefanya kwa miaka miwili, nilisema ya kwamba we are going to modernize the security equipment that we have and improve on the security architecture and make it much more people-centered. We will involve leaders, we will involve citizens in making sure that they too take charge of the security of where they stay, of the security of their counties. And we have seen tremendous progress, even as we spend public resources modernizing the police, modernizing our security agencies. And we are spending close to 20 billion shillings to modernize the equipment and the facilities and the capabilities that are available to our policemen and women so that they can improve on our security. But we must also realize that this security is also a matter for each and every one of us. But as I committed, we need to silence those who are shooting everywhere. And I am very happy that the last 2 years we have reduced on conflict, we have reduced on cattle rustling, we have reduced on insecurity generally, but there is still a lot of work to be done. And I need the support, the collaboration, the partnership of all leaders, together with the security agencies, so that we can take charge of the security of our country. I also committed that we are going to eliminate the old story of vetting because it discriminated on some Kenyans. Today, our constitution and the law gives us the opportunity to make refugees Kenyans. Now, if we can make refugees Kenyans, what business do we have asking questions about other Kenyans and whether they are Kenyans or not? And it is the reason why I made the policy decision to get rid of this thing called vetting, because in any case, it was not based on any law. It was just an administrative issue. And that gives all of us the opportunity to be the people that we should be, people of one country and one citizenship. Let me also confirm that all the other issues that the leaders here have said, I have a good record of them. I know the people of this great county had an opportunity to access water, but that project has had challenges. I am going to unlock those challenges. I have discussed with the governor and all the other members of parliament here on what we need to do to unlock the water facility for this town. And hopefully, by the time I come back in January, we will have some good news, both for the water and the sewerage facility that is required in this town. And the many other projects that we will be attending to when I come back to this region early next year. Let me also confirm that going forward, it is indeed our place as a country to work together, to find common ground on things that are of national interest to the Republic of Kenya. It is the reason why I am working with the former Prime Minister. It is the reason why I have reached out to the former president. It is the reason why I will reach out to all other leaders so that we can fashion a country that all of us believe in, a country that we can all have a stake in and participate in its full, in realizing our full potential as a country. We must continuously build bridges instead of erecting barriers. We must always find it to create more synergy as we move forward. And I appreciate the leadership of many other groups and teams and sections as we work together in this common project called Kenya. It is not an individual program, it's not a personal project, it is a collective effort. And I appreciate that Professor Anyang' Nyong'o is in our midst to represent the former Prime Minister and to confirm that the former Prime Minister is somewhere in West Africa because he is our candidate for the Africa Union Commission Chair. And collectively, our support is necessary so that we can use his talent, his expertise, his knowledge to drive the African agenda, because Kenya cannot succeed if Africa fails. We need a successful Africa to have a thriving Kenya. So that's also very important to me and to all of us. On all the other projects, including what Governor Abdullahi has said, what Aden Duale has said, on projects that will inform the progress of our country, we must continuously work together, persuade one another. Even when there are misunderstandings here and there, we must continuously inform, we must continuously engage, so that everybody can come on board as we implement these transformative projects, whether it is our savings culture, whether it is our education infrastructure and system, whether it is our health programs, or whether it is our infrastructure programs coming from housing to water to roads. We must all continuously work together in that space. And let me confirm to the people of this county and to the pastoralist community that I signed into law the water bill, I think 2 weeks ago, that now provides a bigger framework for matters to do with water harvesting, matters to do with water storage, as we look into the future, because to unlock the potential of our arid and semi-arid areas, water harvesting, water storage, water management is going to form a big and substantial part of unlocking the potential of this region. And that is why it is important for us to have a new policy framework and a legal regime that is going to support the process of our water management. Let me also confirm to you that as we hire more teachers, and this December, we are going to hire another 20,000 teachers, because education is important. And I want to tell the pastoralist communities, education is still a big challenge in this region. And leaders, pastoralist leaders to be specific, must mind about the education of the children of pastoralists as we do for the children of Kenya. I did say before, I will repeat again, that it is time that pastoralists take up teaching as a profession. Many pastoralists do not think a lot about, they like education, but they don't know that education comes with teachers. So there is no education without teachers. So if you don't have great consideration for teaching, then it undermines your belief in education. You cannot continue to depend on teachers that come from other places, because you all know the consequences that befall those who depend on teachers coming from far away. Whenever there is a small crisis, they find an excuse to seek a transfer, and you end up with classrooms that do not have teachers. I'm very happy with what counties have done. They have done more to sponsor teachers from this region to our teacher training colleges, and I made a confirmation that we are going to provide affirmative action for you. If you sponsor more teachers, we are going to create more places in our teaching institutions, teacher training institutions, so that we can train more teachers from this region, and so that as we employ teachers, we can also employ teachers from this region to serve the children from the pastoralist communities. So I want to thank you very much for this great meeting that we have had. I am very confident that going into the future, we can build a much more cohesive, much more united country as we contribute our best in making Kenya great. Thank you very much, and I look forward to the outcome of this summit. Asanteni sana. God bless you.